SNAICC advises Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that the following episode of Kids, Culture, Community, SNAICC Yarns contains references to topics that may be triggering to the community. Your social and emotional safety is important. If this recording has brought up any concerns for you, please contact 13Yarn on 139276. Welcome to Kids, Culture, Community, SNAICC Yarns, the podcast that amplifies the work, voices and strength of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children, families and communities. In this episode, we're bringing you directly to the SNAICC'25 Conference to a powerful plenary session from the members of the SNAICC Youth Advisory Group. They share their personal journeys, the motivations behind the group and their vision for embedding youth leadership not as a token gesture, but as a core part of advocacy. This is episode 6, Youth Voice, centering the lived experiences of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young people.
I'm going to take a seat and hand it over to Sam, who's incredible, an absolute fantastic young leader. And I'm so glad that he's asked to do this, because these are the spaces we're trying to create, and opportunities like this at the SNAICC Conference for children and young people are the perfect place to do it. So Sam.
Look, thank you, Joel. Oh, the music. I just want to have karaoke now. When the sun goes down on my side of town. It's such a humble privilege to be the panel moderator. And this time last year, I was on my first panel discussion at the Stolen Generation Conference in Darwin. So such a milestone, and that's what we want with young leaders. And in my humble leadership perspective, it's not always about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about lifting others up. Public speaking comes naturally to me. So to be a moderator means everyone's voice gets to be heard. So I would like to now do the introduction part and then come back to me. Now, I'll start with Rylie here. Can you tell me your name again, even though I already said it, your age, and one thing that makes you deadly?
I'm Dave, I'm 35. I'm Rylie. I'm 24. I work at VACA. I'm in the kinship finding program. I've been doing genealogy for the last 4-5 years. Proud Goodness Mara Yorta Yorta Jar Jar Rung man. Thinking I was 4 growing up, but knowing my family, I'm actually 12. So a lot of connections and massive family tree, and probably related to a lot of you. So I don't do loans. So we had this question yesterday. We really try to ponder about what makes us deadly. I think it's uniqueness that makes the person deadly. I've so many different things I do, but also I'm a product of everyone else around me. The love, the family, and the connections that I have make me deadly. And I think that's whatever makes anyone deadly in this room, especially. But yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Rylie. Now, Sissy, Kasey. Introduce yourself with another person name. Not just kidding. Your mob and one thing that makes you deadly.
So my name's Kasey Kopp. I'm Aranda and Afghan. I'm from Mbantua, Alice Springs. So I'm 25 years old and I work at the Central Australian Aboriginal Congress and I work in health promotion there. So covering Alice Springs region as well as the Central Australia region, travelling out into communities and giving education. One thing that makes me deadly is I would have to say I'm kind of the calm in the storm, that presence where it's like, okay, kind of bring it back if things, get out of hand, not too sure where things are going, and just that personality that kind of grounds everyone around as well.
To deadly. Give them a round of applause. DJ Draz, tell me your age, your mob, and one thing that makes you deadly.
My name is Jaharn Mundy Drazevich, Ngunnawal and Ewan man, born and raised in Canberra, and connections to Wreck Bay. I'm 18, One thing that makes me deadly, I think you just said it. I do a side hustle on the weekends, a DJ. So that's me.
Too deadly. And now pass it over to Joel. But Joel, don't forget me, so you gotta ask me. Because I think I'm the deadliest in this crew.
Justin. I'm Joel Matysek. I'm a Meuram man from down the island, on the top eastern side of the Torres Strait. On my father's side. From my mother's side, my connections go to Ngāti Tarangi in Aotearoa, New Zealand. And also on my father's side, I always acknowledge that I have a Czech family, which is where my last name came from too. And a long time ago, my dad's dad from Czech was a prisoner of war, and he jumped on a ship. The ship happened to sail to Cairns, and they arrived in Cairns, and they asked a bunch of questions. Is anyone a plumber? And a bunch of people with their hand up. And they said, is anyone a carpenter? Yeah, and my granddad put his hand up. And so they sent him to the Torres Strait to build some houses, and that's where he met my grandmother. But to this day, I've never actually checked if he was an actual carpenter. So I don't know, but we think he is. So that's me. I actually work at SNAICC. I'm the youth voice, policy and engagement lead at SNAICC. I've been with SNAICC for about 10, 11 months now, but I've been in the community control sector for about 5 to 6 years, working with young people on the ground, international kind of programs and policy work. And an area and what makes me deadly is that I get to work in an area I'm super passionate about, which is about enabling opportunities for young people to not just to have say in matters that impact their lives. And I think I get to work in that, and I'm grateful and I'm humbled. And yeah, that's, I think, what makes me deadly.
Too deadly. Give him a round of applause.
Sam.
Don't
So
forget. Because after I finish doing this, I drop the mic.
Hey,
What makes you deadly, Sam? Thought I'd ask you. Someone didn't.
Okay. Well, my name is Samuel. I'll do introduction first. My name is Samuel. I live on Thursday Island, born and raised there, the land of the Kaurek people, also known as Waiben. I have a deep connection. My ancestral ties back to Murray Island. I'm from the Komet and Meuram tribe, 2 of the 8 tribes of Murray Island. And I also have a deep connection to Brisbane, Maryborough, Kaigari. I'm a descendant of a stolen generation survivor. And my great-great-grandmother was the head maid 7 at the Brisbane Governor House here for Lord and Lady Lamington. And so her journey speaks of courage as well. I work in an employment provider up on the Thursday Island, but my resume, even though I'm 24, is of a 35-year-old. And one thing that makes me deadly, well, what's the thing now? 2 facts and 1 lie, or 2 lies and 1 fact?
two
Truths, one.
Oh, I just changed the word around there. Chat GPT. No lie. Well, you wouldn't believe it, but I'm actually a reserve in the Australian Defence Force. Why are you all silent? I'm telling the truth. No, I lie. One thing that... First 2 pays, World War starts, I'm back in the Torres Strait. One thing, okay, proper one now. One thing that makes me deadly is that I get to work alongside these wonderful youths. I've always been that person to learn and work alongside other youths across the nation. But I also was awarded the 2025 Torres Strait Youth of the Year at the NAIDOC Awards in Torres Strait. So, thank you. Ready for the storytelling? Don't we like yarning? I feel like we should do Murray and Island time on this. Like extend past 5 o'clock. Everybody camp here tonight. Okay. So Joel, can you walk us through SNAICC's journey in establishing a youth structure? What were the motivations behind the initiative? And were there any particular need it was responding to?
To my knowledge, SNAICC have been wanting to create a formal structure like this, or like that's been developing, where Aboriginal and Torres Strait young people from community levels all the way up can have opportunities to contribute to national programs and policies that impact their lives. We believe that young people are experts in their lives, and so we want to create the spaces that can do that. So there was an intention for a long time, to my understanding, to do this. SNAICC wanted to do this. They didn't want to do it until they felt that they can go on a journey or engage in a process where they can start to do it properly. Because it's important when we go on this journey, we need to have the mechanisms and the structure and the architecture that's in place to be able to have those voices go somewhere to actually do something. So that was the intention behind it. And SNAICC, we had an opportunity. There was an opportunity to do that, and then that's the journey we've been on. So to do this, there's multiple streams of governance around this. One of them is this youth advisory group that love to yarn, and we all love to yarn. And another stream of governance around it is a project advisory group, and then also the SNAICC kind of internal structure, board, council, executive leadership that have oversight over this thing that we're building, which is important. We've had about 8 months, so we created the governance around it, set it all up, and then we developed our questions. What is this thing? What's our intention here? We didn't want to duplicate anything that's already happening anywhere. We wanted to build on any existing structures that are happening on a community level, and we also acknowledge that there are some structures and mechanisms that exist within our sector on a local level, on state and jurisdictional levels, but in other sectors as well. And the question was, how can we work together with those things that already exist, which is what was important to us. We went around Australia and we asked people. So we went to 13 different places in person and we asked them some questions around, hey, we're thinking of doing this. How can this be set up in a way that can work and that can actually amplify the voices of young people in your community, and what does that need to look like? We spoke with over 45 different NGOs, Aboriginal community controlled organisations and NGOs. We spoke with the acting national commission at the time and all the state and territory commissioners, because we also recognise that, again, going back to, it's good to have voices, but it's another thing to have the voices going into those places too, to actually have those opportunities to create real and lasting sustainable change too. And so we developed the proposal that's kind of got up that was briefly mentioned in the video, which was the 3 primary things around the subcommittee that's being set up to the SNAICC Council, the ecosystems approach, and then we're getting that gathering of young people that'll continue to inform what this next implementation phase of the SNAICC Youth Voice should look like. I'm gonna throw it back to you, Sam.
There was 12 members, and we were all nominated by the Board of Council. And I thank you all for allowing us this opportunity. Although there is four of us up here, we do have Shaden and Kari in the room. Can you give us a wave? And give them a round of applause. I don't know where they are. Shaden is up there. Where's Kari?
Then they come up and do a dance for us. I heard that was the word on the street. They're ready to go? No, they're not. Their hands up. They're ashamed.
And not in our presence here today is, I also want to acknowledge, is Shaylee, Hazali, Amy, and Brianne that are also were part of this as well. And the group was made up of us 12 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young people. The purpose of YAG aimed to ensure that young people from various jurisdiction and personal professional backgrounds were involved in decision making. We met for 2 in-person workshops and 6 online meetings between February and June 2025. And we also had in Adelaide, that was really nice, that cultural walk with Auntie Elaine. And one thing that resonates with me now that I want to carry forward, and as Jaharn had said in his video, was that 65,000 years of us being here is 2,600 generation. Wow, that's powerful. And to imagine I only can trace back 5 of my family generation, but there's more to our existence that's just powerful in itself. So I'll pass it over to Kasey and Rylie now.
Well, yeah, from your perspectives, Rylie, what do you believe a youth voice? Why do you believe a youth voice mechanism is important within SNAICC, but also across broader systems and communities as well?
Yeah, I heard Kasey's got a better answer. She's going to go first.
Go on, man.
Stole that from him.
Kasey.
Well, we can see here today, I think Auntie Cass said this morning that there was about 2,000 people here. So it just shows that SNAICC is, a peak body for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander youth. And getting everyone here today and the rapport that, SNAICC has built with different organisations, different people and that. So it was important for SNAICC to have something like this because, they could potentially be leaders in showing other organisations and, different programs of what you could achieve really with a youth voice. And us coming on board over the last 8 months, first time a lot of us have obviously met each other and kind of going with that. The other thing is that in a broader sense is more young people actually do want to stand up for their communities and speak out about issues that they're facing and, just being young emerging leaders. So it's good to, have us young mob up here talking and other young mob today as well that we've seen present with, about their programs and that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think with me, it's important for Aboriginal issues to go with Aboriginal people, right? I think we all agree that our problems and our solutions are in our communities. We know how to solve the things that are wrong or anything that's been placed on us. It sits best with our mob. And my nan, she gave me this analogy maybe years ago. I use this all the time. If I gave you $10 and told you to get bread and milk, and told you to go milk bar, get bread and milk, whose money is it? It's my nan's money. If I give you $10, tell you to get what you want, whose money is it? It's my money. I can do what I want with it. And the deeper meaning behind that is, Aboriginal people should be, in charge of their own race. Like they follow it their own way. And this gives young people the opportunity to speak on problems and issues that affect them and how they want them fixed. And I think that's really important. And it's really important that SNAICC gives that the power to young people. Like, us as young fellas here, sitting here having a laugh every couple of weeks, just and talking about our problems and our communities and our laugh and, where we're from. I think that's really important. And I think, that's how conversations and how things are changed and bringing us all together, which is, I feel like the Avengers. Like, that's what I laugh about, bringing us all together to take on this beast. But, we're not. We're obviously in training. There's a couple of people in front of us. But yeah, it's just, important that, our young people have their own, they know what's wrong. They know how to, what they want. Like, whether it's a youth hub or, a sporting event, they want to have better opportunities to go to sport, study, education, whatever it may be. I think young people should have that opportunity.
Totally, thank you. And during our tour workshop, what was the game we played every time?
Mafia?
Mafia.
Mafia.
I played Mafia.
Anybody know how to play Mafia?
It's basically the game of best liar. And you'll never guess who won. I'm a villager. I never lie. Sam. All right, I never believe you.
No, my name is actually not Sam. That's why I don't have my tag on. Jaharn, can you share more about your experience as a member of the youth advisory group for SNAICC?
Joining this group, I was a bit nervous. Never been away from family. Fresh 18, and the first in-person meeting was in Adelaide, so I was a bit anxious for that. Especially, I only saw these fellas on the screen on the laptop in online meetings, so pretty nervous for that. Wasn't really not knowing what we were going to do. So I guess overcoming the anxieties that I had in joining the group and figuring this all out was definitely one thing. And being fresh 18 and coming out of the home care system, which recently just happened last year, that was one thing for me, trying to share my story and how that could be valuable for the group and what we're trying to have our outcome be.
Wow, too deadly. And I just want to say that's big thank you for joining us, because you have made a big impact as well in the of our youth voice proposal. And one of my biggest anxieties is that I have flight anxiety. And you imagine me getting here and the whole plane is full of sweaty feet smell. But Rylie, can you tell me more I'm going to ask all of you what your experience has been like. On
I just found it
EF5. funny.
This fella he's from Torres Strait and he has a fear of flying and he wants to join a national org.
I want to make my resume look good.
Yeah, well, I like my thing with this was really important is collaboration and working with others. I think we're really important that you have in our space we're all able to listen to each other, and also have a harder conversation. You know, go back and forth and a little bit, you know, button heads. We did a personality test and we got a couple of wombats and wallabies. I don't know what else there was. What was there? Dolphin? Were you a dolphin? Yeah, just, you know, just a little bit of, you know, understanding each other and where we're from and how we can learn to make this the best it can. Like, we understood everyone in the room has so much to bring to the table. And I think we all understood that, you know, it's only as good as all of us together. And the collaboration is working with them. And also, I've researched a lot and I've met a lot of these people. And I've, you know, this fella here is related to Stan Grant. I'll just point that out. Yeah, just I've done a little bit of research and it's like finding their names, like just in their tree is just mind-boggling. Like, because I've only stayed in Victoria, I researched in Victoria, but I research everywhere in Australia. And it's just, you know, meeting these people and like reading stories of their ancestors and their people was just crazy to me. And then like they kind of bring that out in them, which is even cooler. But yeah, just, yeah, creating that collaboration for me.
And I think, and one part of this journey is, you know, navigating and balancing differing perspectives and experiences, especially during things like this. And we all know that we come from regional, remote and urban areas, and our lived experience or living experiences differ everywhere. And so, you know, I had to, with all the other members as well, was to listen and value everyone's story from each of the community, the cultural backgrounds and all that active involvement in the community. So I think when you're doing things like this, it's important to listen, to learn. And I think, you know, even with 12, we've actually come to agreement and the themes across each states and the consultation. I just want to say a big thank you to Joel and Matysek for going through the consultation of every state. You guys might have met them on their consultation, so just give them a big round of applause, Joel and Matysek. Wow. So they definitely, and the themes that they were coming, like Joel said before, you guys said to us that don't duplicate what is already in community. So we took that upon ourselves and took that advice on to inform our youth voice proposal. Wow. So, yeah, I'll pass it to you, Kasey.
So I think all of you have touched on that. So when we came together, had no idea what I was getting myself into firstly, coming onto SNAICC or what everyone else would be like as well, how we were going to get along, because 12 people is a lot of people, and especially we've all got different personalities and things like that. So when we were kind of designing what we were going to work towards, when we started off, Matysek and Joel had done the consultations and had the feedback from different states and territories. So one thing that we all definitely decided on that was a main theme was not duplicating what was already existing in community. And as well, the other main thing was the language we actually used when it came to what youth voice we're going to look like. So that's one thing that we all agreed on, is that sometimes, you know, child, kid language like that might not be appropriate in like a cultural context to different regions. So we wanted to really make sure that right across the board, from urban, rural, regional, all that, it made sense and included everyone. Because at the end of the day as well, we wanted to make sure that everyone felt like they were included in what work we were doing, and that no one felt, you know, that they weren't a part of it or they couldn't be a part of it as well.
Yeah, that's true. And that's something, from your perspective, Kasey, that you really brought in. Kasey brought up and said, hey, like you're saying, youth voices, but in some of our remote communities in the NT where I'm from, that youth is not a good word in those, especially if you've got some young people that have gone through law and have gone through that journey, then maybe not considered as youth anymore, and it can be quite offensive. And so just having, it's an example of when young people are a part of processes, there's those types of yarns can come out. But there's so many more yarns like that as well. I just want to acknowledge that importance too.
Well, I think, and that cultural safety, knowing that we've come on board to protect our children, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children. So we really took on that, working in that two worlds there, working in LAW and LORE and the cultural safety and the cultural appropriation. And I know, Joel, you've touched based on a few stuff there, but what has your journey been like of the co-design of the youth proposal?
It's been real humbling. Like, to be honest, like it is a journey. Like, it's not. We're embarking on this journey. Like, we've got the thing based off what people have told us. We've got this youth advisor group as well as other governance groups around it to help us inform it. But a key thing was, like, we need young people's voices in everything. And so SNAICC do have young people's voices in their work. So it's not that it wasn't there. It's about how can we strengthen the voices of young people in what we're doing. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here. And even with this youth advisory group, it was a short, like 8 to 10 months to kind of pull something, to pull it together and go around. The start of it. And so this youth advisor group came from, as Sam mentioned, nominations from the SNAICC Council and some other people as well. And this group is just extraordinary. Like, we've got some young people who have out-of-home care experiences. We have some young people who are stolen generation survivors. We've got, I think our oldest member is a practicing lawyer that's actually preparing to run a marathon. But as a practicing lawyer out in Perth, that's in the courts every day, in the youth justice courts every day, and so bringing that perspective into the group as well. We got people who are youth workers. We got ex-tradies that have gone into youth workers that have joined the group. So there's actually quite a diverse group of young people and opinions that have came on board, and the strength of that in designing something is super important because it also shows that even in a group of 12 young people, which is a lot of young people to come together, there's diversity. But when we think of all of our young people too, there's diversity in everything. So a key theme that came part was, how do we create these things that allow flexibility into this structure that we're building as well, which is really important. So that was really important, and that came through really clear. And it was the young people that really drove that and went, hey, don't be too rigid. We don't want no hierarchies. We don't want it to be this, then this. And they really drove that ecosystems approach where, how do we actually work together? Not just within ourselves and our organizations, but I think a lateral love was talked about this morning as well, that lateral love with our other brothers and sister peaks and our other brothers and sisters that are doing incredible work too. How can we work collaboratively and within that? And that came from the voices of young people quite strongly too.
Wow, too good. Lovely words there. And I got asked this question, feel free if you want to start, any of you, haven't gone through this journey. What's one piece of takeaway for organizations who are considering amplifying youth voices in their organization?
I'll jump in first. I think the most important thing is actually making it a safe space for young people to speak up. Sometimes young people don't want to speak up because they felt like they're dismissed. And I think that's one thing that we've experienced here with Joel and Matysek is that we've never felt like that before. And every time we've had concerns or not sure kind of what we're doing, we've always been supported. And I think I'm speaking on behalf of everyone here that I think, you've done a great job of making us feel supported in this space as well.
Yeah, I think for me, I think a lot of young people can see through a lot of, approaches that are very colonial or very, whitewashed or just very straight and narrow. I, have a laugh about it, but, a feed and a laugh is literally is a way to get to kids. Young people just want to have, a genuine conversation with someone that they can laugh with and they can have a feed with. And we've done that way too much, I think. And just having a good time and, and then you can get through the conversations and you can have a genuine approach. I think that's what we've really achieved. And there's a bit of chemistry between us all. I think we all bounce off each other. I think if you create that energy by, having a room that's full of love and nurture and understanding they're not going to be shamed for any of this or, shut out. That's a big issue is young people don't want to come forward because they're afraid of saying something. Like they're not gonna sound stupid or sound, uneducated. And that's not what our community's for. Like, and I think that's an approach that should be adapted across all orgs. For young people, just I think mob in general, I think everyone needs to be supported.
And we had some times of disagreements too, didn't we? Like it wasn't all like we agreed on everything every single time. We had our disagreements, and I think the way we went about it as a collective, which was led by you,
And I think it was that, I stand strong where I'm not gonna, sometimes we gotta step back and look at ourselves and do we have colonization behavior in ourselves? And so, we had talked about the expression of interest for the subcommittee. Now, I don't like when people overly justify themselves or overly justifying their existence as Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander. If you have 1% in your DNA, you are an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander. Okay? When you overly justify your existence, that's a colonization way. And so we came to an agreement with that. And that's part of working together is having these talks and then coming to an agreement. And another thing that I wanted to make mention as well is even though Joel and Matysek did all the consultation, they did not inform this Youth Voice proposal. They only came back with the consultation, and it was all 12 of us that did their work. And also...
That is somewhere.
and then one more thing I really loved, they invited me to my first consultation with the youths in Cairns, Deadly Inspiring Youth Doing Good program in Cairns. And in Torres Strait, youth centres and youth programs are not as proactive as everywhere else. And so every time I'm here and I'm standing in front of all of you and hearing all this amazing stuff, I feel sad for my community. And I'm taking notes of taking things back. But one thing as well, when we were at the consultation, that day when we went, the night that we went, we had a lot of food there as well, because we put food on the table and we yarn as Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. That's a natural thing we do. But I also dressed differently that night. I dressed to mirror the youth that was there, not to wear corporate clothes, because we don't like authority clothes in our community. And I'm sitting here as well, representing the Torres Strait Islanders. I had to decolonize my shorts and wear my cultural attire as well.
What about you, Jaharn? What did you what advice would you give to the orgs out there, bros? Go on.
I stole all my ideas. They're too deadly.
Intellectual property.
I think just knowing that us young people, we got a voice and we do got a story to tell. That's like one of the most important things, is that we have a story. So.
Remix it, bros. DJ, eh?
Remix.
Wow. So, Joel, did you want to ask them if all got questions and for us?
Yeah, I reckon if we can probably open it up. We can yarn for ages, and I think it took us like 10, 15 to get to the content, because we can yarn and laugh and carry on, which is nice. And all of our meetings went way over time, every time, by hours. But it was great. It was good to yarn. So I suppose we'll open it up to the room, if that's all right with you. And if anyone's got any Q&As about any of this stuff, we'll have a crack at answering it.
First of all, I just wanted to say, and I think everyone in this room probably thinks the same, what a deadly bunch on that stage right now. Absolutely incredible. I think it is so important. I am just graduating from being a youth, but I wanted to say how important it is to hear from mob of young people, I think it is so important, no matter what age, to have a voice and to be considered. I wanted to ask you lot, what is a barrier or wall or blockage that you guys are excited to push through, break through, and obliterate, basically, because that's the power that I feel is coming from that stage right now. And I'm excited, and I want to hear more about what you guys are excited to dismantle.
I think one thing that we found, well, listening to all of us when we were together last time, a couple of months ago, we were down in Melbourne putting everything together before it went off to the board and that. And we heard a lot that what we had experienced is when others were getting on youth boards like this and that sometimes they did all this work and then nothing actually happened and nothing came from it. So I feel like now that we're at this point and we're looking back on everything that we've done over the last 8 months, it's definitely a different vibe around the work and how SNAICC have, come back to us with liking what we've put together. And I think that's like a really big barrier to actually get through that stage, is actually not doing all this work and then being told, well, we're not going to go ahead with it. So I think that's one of the main things.
Also, thank you so much for saying how cool we are. I agree.
Wow, and I think, Catherine said this morning, like, keep that fire burning in your belly of our ancestors. And I've always said this, and I heard it today from everyone, how important it is for community to do everything, and also the cultural aspect of it. And I said this last year, and I will say it again, that we have an identity crisis across the youths all across the nation. And the only thing will repair it is that cultural identity. Right now, because of exposure to internet, they are mimicking American thug behavior and mistaking thug life for family. So that's when community come together, stand up strong, make sure, because, when I worked in the high school, I would tell the kids, don't swear. If you swear, your grandmother swear. Not the parent, the grandmother. So you would always go to a high authority that has respect. So, I think identity is very important, and the cultural aspect of it that I heard today, and that's what I want to dismantle, is that you don't get to tell me what my identity is. I am Samuel. I am from Torres Strait. I have 2 tribes in me. I'm both Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander, and I'm not going to live your way in my world. Oh, I'm getting angry. These things make me want to fight.
You're steaming up, bro. So this is...
These lights look like angels coming.
I have a quick question. If you could change one thing with all of your experiences, I'm over this way, fellas, eh?
Where? Oh. We're looking for dingoes.
With all the different experiences that you bring to the table, what's the one thing that you could change if you could change it? What would be the one thing in your experience that you would change, whether it's schools, education, whether it's parent protection, whether it's justice? Like, what would be the one thing that you would change if you could?
One thing I would change, try to change, I guess the stigma with suicide and mental health. Definitely that. I guess it's, as much as it's affected me and my family, that definitely needs to change. So.
Wow. I think one thing that I would change if I had the power is change the national curriculum of education, where reverse psychology learners. We have visual before practical. We visualize everything. So sorry, it's practical before theory, reverse psychology learners. You give a child a bicycle before the assessment and they will get an A in the assessment. So I would like to see the education system change to the Aboriginal pedagogy, the best way to do it.
Hey guys, my name is Irene. Any Tennant Creek in the house? So I do have a question. Youth in remote areas such as Tennant Creek, some of the challenges that they're facing is education, mental health, overcrowded as we all know. How can your program or you guys, or have you ever visited Tennant Creek? With all these challenges, how can you impact and influence those young people in those remote areas?
Yeah, thanks for that question. It's huge, and for all rural and remote communities everywhere. Well, all communities everywhere. I mean, every community is different as well. When we went around and we started this journey to create this structure, and we asked what is it and how do we build it, and how can we create something so that the voices in Tennant Creek can actually, and other communities, can have the opportunities to contribute to what this national advocacy work can look like, and what role can SNAICC play in that, and our brothers and sisters with the lateral love play to work within those systems to reform them, or to abolish them, by the sounds of them, but more so to reform them and work with them too. So that's why when we went with this, we went, well, we need to set up an ecosystems approach, and this came from communities when we went around and asked them to, and this came from the young people and said, we don't want hierarchy, we need an ecosystems approach where we need to look at where things are working. So there's some great models. Up in the Kimberley, there's empowered young leaders that are, they're like young mob who have gathered together across like 7 different areas. They've like self-governed themselves to get together to elect someone to represent the area. Victoria's got Crew Youth Council, Quadsip's got the Solid Voices of Tomorrow, and there's examples of some really good models that exist. So we don't want to duplicate, but what we want to do is we want to support opportunities where the voices support what may be in the NT and in there and for Tennant Creek. How do we create something that can also support the voices to get there, to then inform, to then tell us what should it look like and what can we do? Tell us what you think we should do from the Tennant Creek to support. And that's what we want to do, and that's the journey we're on to doing it. I hope that answers. I don't know. Did that kind of answer it?
So good, because I'm glad I'm here today.
I think with us, I think we understood that we couldn't go to every community. Like, that's not a possibility. I think that's very important to understand. I think that was a good thing that came in the room. We all understood, like, there's so many. Like, we tried to divide, Western Australia. We're trying to think, like, how this could work. Like, if we have a representative from this little community to this community, and then how they can hit all these other communities, and, like, it's hard. I think that's important to understand. I think we're not oblivious to that. We can't help everyone, but we are going to open up the pool to try and to support as many people as we can.
Yeah,
that is definitely what we're trying to do, 100%.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like, we're a work in progress, and we're still under construction, and we can, and we're tradies, and we do deeply care about all the places. And I wish I had the money to travel everywhere. I would literally go and hear them out and bring back everything and use my power to amplify their voices from communities, remote communities. And, also I don't only sit here as a person, I have my own story as well, growing up in domestic violence. So when you see me sitting here advocating, I come from that. And I want, as I am sitting today, as a healed person, I would want that for someone else to be healed, to be a youth that has a full identity.
And I think as well that we all agreed amongst each other that when we were going through this process that we weren't speaking on behalf of every community as well. That's the other thing, like obviously Central Australia as well, like issues in Alice Springs might not be something that, we could talk about on behalf of Tennant Creek. You need people from those areas talking about the issues that they're facing. So that's why we all came together and, a subcommittee was the only, well, not the only, but it was something that we all agreed on, that at least with that, then people could, from different regions within those states and territories, could have their say of what mainly was obviously impacting them as well.
Yeah, wow. Because it's like Torres Strait has 14 inhabited islands, and then I have my family's brothers and sisters from Northern Peninsula area here as well. I would not speak on issues regarding them, but only from my island. But I will identify to build a network of young champions to inform work like this as well.
I'm wondering how you're including the voice of young people who have significant disability, whether that be physical, intellectual, sensory.
Yeah, it's really important. And when we were on the journey of doing this, there were some people that came to us and said, hey, there's a lot of different groups of young people within groups of young people as well, and we need to make sure that whatever's getting set up actually allows this opportunity for those young people to have a say in these matters too. And that includes young people that may consider themselves in the disability community as well. And that includes that too. And so when we want to have that gathering of young people next year, we would like to invite members within those various different groups of young people to come too, so that we're doing the best that we can to gather those voices. But at the same time, something else we heard was, whilst it's good to have opportunities to come together for young people to be together, sometimes young people may just want to send one text message or one call or something. They might just want to get their one message and not be on it for ages, but they just want to say their one thing that's really important to them. And so another key thing that came out was, whatever we do create, whatever the structure, this is what informed the proposal that is, it needs to also be really flexible and allow those opportunities for those various modes of engagement to inform their voices, so that their voices can be representative in it. Because sometimes when we get groups of young people together to inform stuff, sometimes the way that it's set up actually inherently kind of disempowers almost, or doesn't allow some young voices to be in it. So that was really important to us, including for those groups as well. Does anyone else up here kind of want to add anything to that? Or?
Yeah, when we were in Adelaide, we did a little activity, a role play of how we will send notification, whether it's letter, email, Facebook, and then we also, we did a little role play on how anyone can submit their expression of interest if this youth proposal was to be built up. Yeah, so we really learn what diversity, equality, no matter your gender, your age, or anybody of those communities.
Yeah. And just adding, whilst, and including from this group as well, whilst it's really important, and it's great that on national levels that SNAICC has this structure, this mechanism that's developing to have a youth voice, what was really passionate that came through was, how can we as a group, or what role can we play, if any, that came through, can we play in supporting young people having a voice on a local community kind of levels as well. And that's something that these young mob have been telling us too. So we're not sure, but that's definitely work too. They're like, wow, it's good. This is what we heard from young people. Wow, it's good to have this. When we went around and young with some young people, yeah, it's good that you're having this, but what about here? Like how something I can't see that too. So that's something else that I don't know what that work will kind of look like if it goes ahead. But when we get those, what we want is the young people to lead all parts of what we're doing. So when we get those young people together, they'll tell us what they want us to do, how they want us to do it, and then we'll go on this journey to try to do that thing that they're telling us to do.
The last question.
The last question, thank you. I just really want to congratulate all of you, but really say thank you very much. It's hard to get up there. I wouldn't have got up there at your age, I'm telling you much. So congratulations. But I think the real responsibility isn't on the shoulder of all of you. There's a responsibility on all of us to make sure our organisations are youth-friendly, that we include voice, that we start, and I think that's the key bit of work that we all need to do as, people in responsible positions, running organisations, to actually ask the questions Does my service hear the voice of young people? Do I actually see young people? Do I actually hear their voice? Do we actually provide services? Because, you know, you talked about being in out-of-home care and, you know, did our service to you, did you have a cultural support plan? Did you have a genealogy? Did you do return to country? Did you have a confirmation when you left care? Did you have money in your pocket? So what are young people telling us? And we don't hear that, and we've become a do for. And so for us, we need to be able to set up and have young people and hear what you're saying, but also, you know, how does that look for us and what do we as services, what are our indicators, what outcomes, how do we actually measure whether we would stand up to the test that young people would give us as far as, you know, being youth friendly. And so I think a missing element obviously is a lot of our young people have got gender, you know, misidentified gender issues, LGBTQI, brother boys, sister girls, many of our, you know, young people growing up. And that's not your obligation, but it's like for us, children with young people with disability, and are our services, do we employ young people? Do we actually hear the voice? And I think there's lots of things, I can hear a truckload of work you're taking away from this, but I just think the obligation's not on you. We all need to start to ask ourselves that question and do that body of work. So congratulations, Joel. I know that SNAICC will, you know, 100% support this work. And, you know, like you are champions, you absolutely are. I didn't even know my grandson was going to be up here. So I'm, I'm so very proud, but I'm so very proud of all of you. Amazing, and you are our champions and you are heroes today. And absolutely, thank you so much.
Being a young person, being on this journey can be overwhelming and you have responsibilities. Now, what's something that you do to keep yourself grounded?
Definitely music for me. I love music. I guess that's my way of connecting to other people as well. So, not Broncos, hell no. Cowboys here. I'm a Cowboys fan, so.
I like the gym and basketball, a bit of cooking as well, so it keeps me grounded. And Collingwood, yeah, let's stay winning. It's all right, it's all good.
And I think like a lot of our mob, I just love being around my family. So, you know, always feel grounded around them.
What about you, Sam?
Drinking. I like it. Well, you know, I got to remember my age. But yeah, I love going to the beach in the afternoon to unwind, visiting family at the cemetery, telling them all the good work and to stand by me throughout the journey, and also love island dancing and singing for children back home. And so that keeps me grounded. And, you know, I don't do these things for myself. I do it for my whole community. And so at times where I feel exhausted, I always ask myself why. And your third why is why you're doing what you're doing.
I think a bit of everyone and my family, like just being able to go, a big part of moving back to Cairns was being a bit closer to the Torres Strait, but also to my mum, who is aging and is approaching retirement, my nieces and nephews, my brothers and sisters. And so being able to be home and present is really what grounds me and kind of fuels me and drives me as well.
Yes, so please give them a round of applause.
Wow, what a powerful youth voice plenary from SNAICC'25. If you're inspired by this yarn, help us amplify these voices by following and sharing this podcast with your friends, colleagues and communities. Stay tuned for more SNAICC'25 episodes coming soon. For more resources and to continue the conversation, visit snaic.org.au. Thanks so much for listening to Kids, Culture, Community, SNAICC Yarns.